one. All right, well, we'll keep that open in case it's trying to do stuff with that. Okay, are we all good to go? Can you hear me back there if I talk like this? All right, great. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Nathan Smith. I am a software engineer. My Twitter handle is Nogs, and my GitHub is NogsMPLS. I'm here today to talk to you about HyperDev.com, which is a pretty neat online playground for coding. So what is HyperDev.com? Well, they market it as a developer playground for building full-stack web apps fast. It was created by Fog Creek, also known as the people who made Trello. Many people probably here know that. They also say that they co-founded Stack Overflow. You may have heard of that site as well. So why did they build HyperDev? Well, they wanted to remove the barriers to quick prototyping, or remove the barriers to actually getting to start your app, building your app. And what that means is basically trying to remove the hours and hours it takes to set up a server or to make a build pipeline. Like, that's one of the big things here that's been happening recently with JavaScript fatigue, right? Is you have things like Webpack, which handles all your bundling, and it's a nightmare to deal with. It does some really awesome things, but it's a lot of plumbing. There's a lot of configuration you have to go through just to get up and running, just to start actually working on your application. So what HyperDev.com is trying to do is remove a lot of all that stuff so you can get started working on your prototypes, get started working on that idea that you have. So that's all great, but let's actually look at this. So let's do some live coding tonight, guys. All right. So HyperDev.com. You go to HyperDev.com, and what you see here that's pretty small. You guys got screens back there, right? Is this okay? What you have here looks like just your normal IDE or text editor inside of your browser. But it's much, much more than that. So first, I'm just going to, there's this little place up here that says Show Live, and it's got some neat, cool sunglasses, because this is a cool feature. I'm going to just move these over so that hopefully we can see these things side by side as we make these changes. All right, cool. So in our text editor over here, you can see on the left-hand side, we've got some files. We've got back-end and we have front-end sections. And I'm going to start with the front end here. We'll just go to straight up. Oh, now I can hear myself. Man, that's distracting. Okay, so we go to index.html, and we can see that this markup here is exactly what we see over on our right. So we could actually come here and just say, oh hi, JSMN. And as you can see in that header, it just changed. So this is actually really cool, because now we can start typing markup, and it'll just auto update. This is in beta. It only came out literally last month, so there are certain things that are a little glitchy. If we wanted to change our styles, we can change that hard-to-read pink header into blue, and there we go, right? If we want to look at our JavaScript on our client side, we can see we have a console log over here. So if we open up our console over here, oops, there we go. You can see it says hello world, and I can even type some stuff over there, and we see it says hello world. What's happening here is that every time I change something on our client side assets, it's refreshing in the actual browser. Now this isn't, from what I can tell, this is not hot module reloading. This is much more akin to what you're probably used to with live reload. It's like a full page refresh, so it won't keep up with your scroll position or anything like that, or if you have a modal or a pop-up, as far as I can tell, it will go back to your main screen. Do I have a question?
Yeah. So does it update on every change to the file, or does it like do a
I, yes, good. So he asked, does this change for every change of the file, or does it do a debounce? From what I can tell, it is doing some kind of debounce. There is a slight delay between things, but it's a pretty, if it is doing it through debouncing, it is a very short time frame. Because as I type, it will start doing stuff, but it does it in batches. So
It seems to be updating pretty quick.
yeah, it seems, that's what I said. If it is doing debouncing, it's pretty short time. I would, again, this is in beta. If I was on their team, I'd say maybe widen that a little, because there are certain, there's small little glitchy things with it. But this is actually pretty cool. So I can start changing my front end code and see it automatically change on the browser. But what about our back end code, right? So we have this list right here that is actually being formatted. It's actually being, it's an AJAX call to a route on our back end in Express. And that's what actually makes this list of dreams that we all have. Because I dream about washing the dishes all the time. So let's actually change some server code and see what happens. So here are our dreams down here. And let's just say I dream of dancing dogs. And you can see we didn't have to spin up our server again. We didn't have to, Control-C-Y, restart our node server all over again or anything like that. It just automatically updated. And we didn't actually have, notice I didn't have to make a build process here. This is pretty sweet. I can get right into building my application code. But we all know that we can't build any kind of app worth its salt if we can't actually, inside of Node, if we can't use NPM modules and actually bring stuff in. So we're actually pretty lucky here in that HyperDev has pretty good NPM integration. So let's say I wanted to start using ES6 inside of my application. So I want to use Babel to actually start doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in Babel core, and you can see it added Babel core here. I'm going to also add in two other packages here. I'm going to add in Babel preset ES 2015 for our preset. And then one last one I'm going to use just to make it simple for us to use ES 2016, although it's not recommended for production, is we're going to use the Babel CLI to bring in Babel node. So, oh, it made me hit Babel. Come on, I want Babel node, or Babel CLI. This one here. So the other thing, while this is going on, as it installs these, we can open up a log for what's actually happening in our server. So this is actually the console for our server at any given time, is this activity log. And right now you can see it's starting to do npm installs, and there we go. There's some installs there. But if we start doing, as we all know, if we start doing ES6 right now, it's going to not work, right? We haven't actually done anything with our Babel transpiler, so that's it doesn't understand that word. So we need to start adding files. We can add files to our backend, right? So I'll just add a Babel RC, and we will set our preset. Oops. Presets, and we'll call this ES 2015, and hopefully we can get this all working here. So it's still not working, and that is because I have not actually started to use Babel. Now hopefully we can use Babel node here, and everything will start to work. Fingers crossed. So what I've done here is I've edited files on the front end and seen the changes immediately happen on the inside the browser. I've edited stuff on the back end and started to see the changes on the browser. I've added NPM modules. I've even started using ES6. And all of this, again, I didn't have to worry about any kind of build pipeline or setting up the server. It's already there, good to go. It has good integration with GitHub. So if you actually wanted to save this work, you could sign in with GitHub up here and save it to HyperDev, or export it to your GitHub, or import a GitHub repository into HyperDev. One thing I will say about all this right now, though, is that I don't know what kind of security there is around this. I don't know if this is just saving your code as plain text strings. There is a private option. I don't know how or where your code is being saved, what servers it's on, any of that stuff. So I would recommend this is only for prototyping, ideas, or open source work. I would not recommend using hyperdev.com for any proprietary or corporate professional work that you might have. Just putting that out there right now. But the coolest part about this whole thing, does anybody have their laptop open right now and is in the Slack channel perhaps? Yeah. Okay. So if you're in the Slack channel and you have your laptop open, go ahead and click on that link. And hopefully this all works out well and the internet is all good. But what this is supposed to allow you to do, and I tested this with a friend, there we are. See this little person right here? So here's the README. I can see, so whoever that is, go ahead and start typing right next to welcome. And I'll start typing over here. Oh, see? Hello, whoever you are. So this is like Google Docs, but for coding, right? This is like pairing on steroids. You could theoretically start building an entire app with a whole team all working on it all at the same time. Now, I think this has got a lot of potential. I think that you would probably only use it for the beginnings of projects, the beginning of ideas, or hackathons and things like that. Once you start to get a fully formed product, you will eventually want to bring in some form of actual version control in order to actually, get a good workflow going. But I think the possibilities of this could be like a really cool interview technique, right? Yeah, or teaching, exactly. It's more than just what you can do with Cloud9 for paired programming. I think it can do a few more things than just that, than just having an online IDE. But yeah, that's hyperdev.com, and I think that's all I have for tonight. Any questions? Yeah? No idea. As far as NPM scripts, post-install, pre-install, I'm sure you can. Anytime you make a change to the package JSON, it's basically doing a whole new install, just checking if, it'll do an NPM install and see if, there are any new packages or updates or anything like that. You'll see that for NPM modules, it automatically grabs the latest version and then uses the caret in order to get for versioning. You can, right now, it defaults to the latest LTS for Node, which is 4.4.3, but you can define your engine here. You can use Node 6 if you wanted. And yeah. So basically anything you would do in a regular application, I mean, you saw in the server.js file, like they've already got express routes and API already built in just as the demo, so it can handle all that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. That's all. Yep. Whoa, 2 questions. Is it like a or something? I honestly have no idea how they're doing it. This is, like I said, this is only a month old. It's still in beta. So here's one thing I'll show you. So you can search for files. So I can type in style and it'll go down. However, if I type see results, feature not finished. So there are still obviously certain things that are still being worked on. It's only a few weeks old. But I think it has a lot of potential and it's something to keep an eye on.
Do they provide any kind of backend data store at all?
I haven't gone that far into. I've just basically just messed around with the what you see here and just wanted to see if it can do certain things that are very common in order to just make a blanket like simple app. Yeah. Oh, for Bower? Don't know. I don't use Bower ever, so I can't tell you. Yes? So with CodePen and JS Fiddle and things like that, it's similar except for those things are going to be front end only as far as I understand, or as far as how I use them. It's just it would just be this front end part on the left here. where you just have your JavaScript, your CSS, and your HTML. This actually allows you to build a full backend. By full, I don't know if there is database storage here. Like their API here is just a straight up an array. So I'd be really interested to see if there are projects out there that maybe use Mongo or something alongside this. I don't have the answer to that. But the way that this is different is that it actually allows you to build at least some kind of backend to call to. Yeah.
Okay, so that your answer to any other questions can be go try it out.
Exactly.
What do you do to find this? And
go to hyperdev.com.
All right.
That's
and
it.
You signed up with what kind of an account?
You don't have to sign up. You just go to hyperdev.com and bam, there you are. You have your dummy app, this dream of the future. If you want to start saving your apps that you create, connect it to your GitHub, and then when you sign in to HyperDev via GitHub, it will show you all of the projects that you have done, or you can import or export to GitHub. So, yeah, and yeah, he's right. My answer to everything else is just go try it out. It's super new. I don't have all the answers, but you should really check it out. It's pretty neat.
Cool.
Thanks.